Good morning, thanks for tuning in. My name is Matt, I'm part of the pre-sales team here at Hikvision, and today we're going to go through our new range on Turbo. So on today's live stream, we're going to give you an update on our latest cameras from the Turbo range. We've also got an update on our range of AccuSense DVRs, and during the live demonstration, we're going to show you how the new EUI GUI works, including the layout, smart functions, target search and smart feedback, playback. So without further ado, let's get into it. So ColorVu technology, a lot of us will already know what ColorVu is, but for those that don't, ColorVu can provide excellent full color images even in low light conditions. Now how do we do that? Well, we do that with a larger aperture. So on a ColorVu camera, we have an f1.0 aperture. That allows for much more light to be received by the camera sensor when we compare that against a standard camera. In the same way that your iris in your eye or your pupil in your eye at night time will expand out quite large and you'll see a really large black pupil, it's exactly the same way as a camera. It's expanding out and letting a lot more light onto the back of the sensor. In fact, we can receive 4 times more light using f1.0 when compared against f2.0. We've got 3D digital noise reduction as well, which enables a lot of that noise to be filtered out when we're looking at images in low light conditions. We've got active alignment technology, and we'll go through that in a bit more detail in the next slide. So active alignment technology. Well, what is it? Well, active alignment technology can make sure that in the mass production of ultra high definition cameras, the production quality is ultra reliable with a really low rejection rate. Hikvision is the only manufacturer in the security industry that has the capability for AA technology. So our Kfot 3K camera. This is a fantastic camera for those who want to get into ColorVu and don't really have the budget for the cameras on the higher range. So the Kfot is a new product. The 5 megapixel camera has an output of 16:9, so the image will not appear distorted and stretched on a modern monitor. When we connect a 4:3 image to a 16:9 monitor, we can either end up with the 2 bars down the side and not fully filling out the monitor, or we can end up with that image being stretched and distorted as we push it out to appear on that 16:9 screen. So we've got 2 images on the screen here. So on the left hand side we've got one of our Kfot cameras, and on the right hand side we've got a 4:3 camera from another manufacturer. So if we look at the 2 of them, we can see that the one on the right hand side is clearly stretched out and distorted, where it's being stretched to fit that 16:9 screen. But we've got a lot better image on the one on the left hand side there. So our cameras are available with audio over the coax from the camera. We have a built-in microphone in the camera to pick up that audio. So a fantastic example for this, as per the picture, would be for retail, for example. Now, not only does this save on installation cost, as a separate microphone doesn't need to be installed, but it can also make your installation look a lot neater as you've only got one device screwed to the wall. So here's our product showcase range of cameras in the Kfot range. We support audio over coax from the camera. We've got that 3K output resolution at 2960 by 1665. Lux level on this camera will go down to 0.001 with that f1.0 aperture. And we support IP67 ingress protection, which means it's totally protected against dust and protected against effects of temporary immersion between the depths of 15 centimeters and 1 meter. And the duration of that test is around about 30 minutes. So our next camera in the range, this is the KF3T. That's our 3K ColorVu camera. This is our mid-range camera. So we've got two pictures on the screen here, which are soon going to turn into videos. The one on the left-hand side, now we shot that with an iPhone 13 with the supplementary light turned off. And the camera on the right-hand side is the KF3T ColorVu. Now the one on the left is going to pan down and we're going to see a laptop screen with the KF3T on it, and then you'll clearly be able to see the difference between the two. Also, the KF3T works to a bit of a better lux level than the previous camera we talked about. So the lux level on this camera is down to 0.0003 with the same aperture. So we can clearly see the difference there between those two cameras. It's fantastic performance considering the light levels there. Now this was shot around about 10 p.m. So product showcase for this range. Now POC, power over coax, is optional. The choice of that is entirely up to you. It's available with and without power over coax. If you want it with, then you need to add the -E at the end of the part number, and if you don't want it, you just take the -E off. So we've got better low light performance when compared against the KFOT. So the lux level on this camera is down to 0.0003 with the same aperture. We've got the same IP67 ingress protection at IP67. We've got that same resolution at 2960 by 1665. The 16:9 output, so the image does not appear stretched on a 16:9 monitor. And we've got that 130 dB wide dynamic range as well. Now, all of our latest firmware can be found on the Hikvision UK portal. All DVRs that have been customised to support 3K, we've put on the screen here now. I'm not going to read them all out. I'll leave them on the screen there for you to have a look at. For older DVRs, you may need to manually upgrade your firmware via the Hikvision UK portal. Now, if you've got any questions on this, please contact pre-sales on the following address, and that's presales.uk@hikvision.com. And that address is down the bottom for you as well. So our UF3T 4K camera, this is our high-end turbo camera. So with the UF3T-E, we can support power and video up to 200 meters over a coax cable. So this can have huge benefits, including simplifying your installation, enabling one cable to be used for power and video. You wouldn't need a fuse spur at the other end. Incredibly makes the installation a lot more simple as well. So we've got some different scenarios here that we're going to run through with these cameras. In all of these scenarios, we're using the same camera. So the cameras that we're using, we've got a conventional 4K camera with infrared. We've got a 2 megapixel ColorVu without any of the lights being used. And we've got a 4K ColorVu camera without any of the lights being used. Now this scenario here is the car park downstairs. Our target is around about 15 to 20 meters away, and it's a vehicle, and we're looking at picking up the number plates. Now with the infrared, what we're finding is the infrared is reflecting off of the infrared, the reflective strip on the number plate. And as a result of that, we're not able to pick out any detail at all from that number plate. The 2 megapixel image in the center, there's just not enough detail there for us to make any tale of what that number plate is. However, the image on the right hand side with the 4K, we can really pick out that detail. It's very easy for us to determine what that registration is. So our second scenario, same cameras. In this particular scenario, we're 8 meters away. We're looking at car registrations again, but the car headlights are on, so that may have an effect on the image. It's 8 meters away in this occasion. So we're looking over at the left with the 4K with infrared. We're still getting that reflection come back from the infrared. And that's not enabling us to pick out any detail whatsoever from that number plate. The 2 megapixel, because we're that little bit closer than before, we've got a bit more detail, but it's still not particularly clear. It's a little bit more, we need more detail there really than the 2 megapixel provides. But the 4K ColorVu on the right hand side is got enough information there for us to fully determine what that car registration is. So next up we've got a street sign, same cameras as well. However, with a street sign, and this one in particular, there's no reflective strip. So we can just about make out what the road name is, or what the street name is, I should say, with the 4K camera, or with 4K camera with infrared. The 2 megapixel ColorVu with the lights off is still quite not enough detail at 15 meters. But we can pretty much pick everything out from the 4K ColorVu with the lights off. So product showcase for these cameras. So we got the lux level down to 0.0005 with that same f1.0 aperture. We're supporting POC. We've got the same IP67 as the previous range. 4K resolution and 2 lens options here as well. We've got the 2.8 and then the slightly narrower 3.6. So our 3K, 4K LiveGuard camera. So LiveGuard, well, what is LiveGuard? Well, it lets us have a strobe light alarm and an audio alarm to ward intruders off in real time. We've got 3 pre-messages that are pre-recorded already in the camera as well for us to use. Plus, we've got a customized one that we can add in via HikConnect. We've got a strobe light in the camera, but we can change that so it's either a strobe light or a flashing solid light. And we do that from the programming of the camera itself. And we'll show you that a little bit later when we do the live demonstration. So here's the camera in action. Here's Harvey coming into the scene. The intrusion event's picked him up. The siren's gone off, the strobe's gone off as well, and he's disappeared off into the distance. So as we said on the previous slide, we can customize our voice broadcast as well via HikConnect. So we can have our own message played out directly from the camera. Now you're not just limited to intrusion events, for example. An example we've got here is a retail store. Okay, somebody's come into the retail store and the message says, "Welcome, today's special offer is whichever." So you're not just limited by intrusion events. It could be anything where somebody comes in through a line crossing or an intrusion event and you need a message to be played. All right, what that event is entirely up to you. So our DVR with AccuSense technology, all of our DVRs will support AccuSense from version 4.70.100 and above. And we will support motion detection 2.0 with line crossing and intrusion detection. Because they've got AccuSense, that will enable the DVR to filter out a lot of the false alarms, the majority of them, because it's only looking for humans and vehicles. And it knows the differences between the two. So our false alarm rate will be dramatically reduced. We can send real-time notification straight through to HikConnect. And then we're also able to customize an audio message down to the camera as well. Just please bear in mind, you'll need your HikConnect to be version 4.9.0 and above to support this feature. So it's a product showcase of some of these cameras. We see we've got them in 3K and 4K. There's a difference in the lux level between the two, with the 3K operating down to 0.0003 and the 4K operating down to 0.005. We've got a difference in the lighting distance between the turret and the bullet, with the turret going down to 20 meters and the bullet operating to 40 meters. It's got the same features as we've talked about previously, so I won't go through those again. But additionally, we have one here called line out port. So what that does, that will enable us to connect the camera to a supplementary amplifier. If the speaker's not loud enough, then we can connect it to an amplifier, and then we can have it as loud as we like. I've actually got some of those cameras here. So here's the turret camera with the lead and the connectors on the back, then with our speakers on the side. And then here as well, we've got the bullet camera as well. All right, so got a nice looking unit, and the speaker on the bottom there. We've also got all our connectors on the back. So, AccuSense DVRs. So we can do POC, or power over coax, up to 150 meters over a coax cable. We can also support 4K, or 8 megapixel, over that coax cable back to the DVR. So here's our new AccuSense models. Key highlights here, okay, is we've got motion 2.0, motion detection 2.0 for all the analog channels. We've got 4 channels of perimeter protection with human and vehicle classification, 8 channels on the 7208. We've got motion detection 2.0 and perimeter protection cannot be used at the same time. That's a key point worth remembering there. There's only so much power, processing power within that DVR, so we have to decide on what function we want to use, whether that be motion detection 2.0 or perimeter protection. So this is our new GUI. We call it EUI. The idea behind it, it makes it a lot more, it stands out a lot more. It's more straightforward. The icons really do pop and stand out. We've got our icons in white with a blue highlight underneath and the grey background. So it makes it really easy to navigate and select the function that we want to use. We've also got an easy mode and an expert mode as well, so we can turn off a lot of the features or a lot of the programming functions, and we'll show you how to do that when we do the live demo. So we can configure smart events as well. All right, so on this particular one, we're looking at motion detection, but it would be a similar one if we did perimeter protection, for example. So we'll just make that a little bit larger there. So as we can see down the bottom, we've got our false alarm reduction done by AI. And in this particular instance, our detection target is looking for humans and vehicles. Now we can deselect that to have one, both, or neither. The choice is ours. We've also got target detection as well. Now your events will appear from the live view window. As you're looking at the live view and an event comes through, you will see those 4 events appear down the left hand side. And you can get more detail by that by clicking on the relevant, making sure that the tab is selected for target detection, then clicking on one of those 4 events, and then you can replay an 11-second video clip. So we've got quick target search as well. This is the 3rd icon over. We can search for humans or vehicles for a particular time and date, and then all of those events will pop up as little thumbnails within this menu function. And then we can then select on the relevant event we want. We've got 2 tabs on there, one for picture and one for video. If we highlight the video one as opposed to picture, we're then able to replay an 11-second video clip. So this is our smart playback function. We'll go into this again in more detail when we look at the DVR itself. So we've got our time and date down on the left-hand side. We've got the cameras that we're able to select over on the left-hand side. Down the bottom there, I'll just see if we can expand this a bit bigger. We've got the conventional blue bar for items that have been recorded, but then we've got red items on there as well, and that is recordings that have been classified as either human or vehicle. So we can change the playback speed up to 16 times, but then we're also able to tick the box on the left-hand side to skip normal videos, and then as we play that back, we're only going to see events that have been classified as human or vehicle. And it makes it a lot quicker to go through all that footage. So let's have a look at the DVR itself. So this one is one we've got set up in the office here. First thing we're going to do is log into to the DVR. So this is the menu that we're presented with. We've got the target search over on the left-hand side, as we talked about before. We've got our icons across the top as well that appear in white, grey background, so it really stands out, makes it easy for us to look at. So we'll go into configuration first. We've got our configuration options. We're in the general menu at the moment. Now we can change this. We talked about it briefly earlier, where we've got easy mode and expert mode, and it's really quite straightforward to switch between the two. So currently it's in expert mode, so we'll just switch it to easy mode. Just click the button down the bottom that says easy mode, and you can probably see a lot of those menu options have disappeared now. I'll put it back in expert mode. There we go. Right, so we've set an event up so we can look at some events that have come through and we can search for things. We'll go into event. The one we've got programmed up is quite simple. It's just simple motion detection. Okay, we've got the sensitivity right up at 100, but we've filtered it out for humans and vehicles, all right, because we've got the two boxes ticked. More than likely, in fact, 100%, we're not going to get vehicles up in here because we're in the office up on the second floor, but we've still got the box ticked anyway. But you would select that according to your situation. We can pick the camera that we've got. So in this case, we've got Turbo 4K LiveGuard. We've only got one camera connected. We've enabled the rule for this to work. As default, the motion detection is selected for the whole screen. So you can probably see the blue box that's drawn all the way around. That shows which part of it is set up for that. Currently, pretty much all of it. We've got our arming schedule set for 24/7, so it's always going to go off, but we can adjust that in the normal way that we normally would do. We've also got linkage action as well, so when this event activates, whether we have an alarm pop up on the GUI, the buzzer goes off, the surveillance center is notified, which is Hike Connect, or an email activates or sends an email through to one of the addresses that we've pre-programmed. Output alarm linkage toggles the output. Also, this item over on the right hand side, audio and light alarm linkage, you may not see that. That's purely dependent on the type of camera you got. So if you've got a camera that hasn't got audio and light alarm linkage, you're not going to see that option in there. So let's go through the search. Now we're going to search for humans for today, 12th of the 4th. I'm going to click on search, and there's all our events come straight through. All right, this one that we recorded earlier. So we'll go straight to the end. I think this one's me. There's a picture of me there. We'll click on video, and then we can replay that 11-second clip. Let's have a look for another one. Click on video. We'll click on play. brilliant. So next up, we're going to have a quick look at playback. So click on the top there, playback. Down the bottom left, we've got the time, the calendar. We've got our camera list down the left-hand side, and we've got our playback bar across the bottom. So when we, at the moment, we haven't got our camera selected, so we'll pick camera number 1. Now this starts off at 12 o'clock. We left it running last night, but you do get fantastic performance from this camera. Bear in mind we had very minimal lighting on in the office. But you can see all the light in this outside in the car park there. This was 2:30 this morning. Now if I play this back at 16 times, it's going to take quite a while to play all this back. So it's only gone on a couple of minutes. We need to speed that up a little bit, don't we really? So what I can do here is I can click on human and I can click on vehicle. So let's just pause that. I'll click on human, I'll click on vehicle, and we've got some items in here that are red. All right, between around about 8:30, 9:30ish, 9:45. All right. So I'm going to click on skip normal videos. So it's going to completely bypass everything. And if I click on play now, it will just play those relevant videos. In fact, we're going to slow that down a little bit. So it makes that process a lot easier and straightforward. So the last thing I want to show you, we get this quite a lot, is how do we get into programming the camera directly? Okay, so there are some functions that we will need to do actually at the camera. So we do that by opening the PTZ window up. So we get PTZ control, that appears over on the right hand side. And we need to go to Iris Plus. So we can think of Iris Plus as like an enter key, really. So we click on Iris Plus, and then we've got some options here that, that we can change. So we want to go down to, I think it's this one here, we're going to here, oh. We're going to go down to Smart Light. We're going to go down to, back to the next one down, Smart Functions. So we'll go down to here. There we go. All right, we're going to go and have a look at this one here. So this is where we can configure our white light and also our alarm source as well. So as we said previously on the other slides, okay, we've got the 3 messages plus the customized message. So if we go down to alarm source, we can change that from those 3 pre-recorded messages that are already in the camera to the customized one. I'm not going to change that here because it will actually reboot the camera. And we'll close that window there. There we go. So that pretty much concludes the live demonstration. So if you've got any questions with that, please send them through to answers.uk@hikvision.com.